Welcome to Kaleidoscope. I'm Uche Aluku. Coming up on the program, promoting social justice, the Aliko Dangote Foundation impacts life in Africa through investments in health, education, and economic empowerment. The Chief Executive Officer of the Aliko Dangote Foundation, Zuwaira Yusufu, highlights the foundation's efforts to support vulnerable populations. From underdog to sought-after mobile phone brand, Tecno Mobile successfully changes the negative perception of China-made phones and leads the smartphone industry in barely a decade. And the Deputy Marketing Manager of Tecno Mobile Nigeria, Atai Uche, talks about the brand's journey to its top spot in the smartphone industry in Africa. Thank you for joining us on the program. Philanthropy is one of the major sources of funding for critical areas of development such as healthcare and education. Since 1993, the Aliko Dangote Foundation has been promoting social justice in Africa through investments in life-changing projects.
Poverty, unemployment, malnutrition, poor education, and corruption are some of the social problems in Nigeria, like many other African countries. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, about 40% of Nigeria's population of 200 million people live below the poverty line, hindering sustainable development. Interventions from charitable organizations like the Aliko Dangote Foundation help bridge the gaps. The Aliko Dangote Foundation is the private charitable endeavor of the chairman of the Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote. It was incorporated with the mission to enhance opportunities for social change through strategic investments in health, education, and economic empowerment. Of the foundation's numerous intervention projects worth billions of naira, the microgrant scheme alone is reducing the vulnerability of some impoverished households. Through a 10 billion naira donation to 1 million women across the 774 local government areas in Nigeria, each woman gets a cash grant to improve her economic condition. Working in partnership with government, national and international partners, the Aliko Dangote Foundation says it is focused on fostering collective growth in Africa by continuously adding value to people's lives across the continent.
The Aliko Dangote Foundation says is the largest private foundation in sub-Saharan Africa with the largest endowment by a single African donor. I sat down with the Chief Executive Officer, Zuwaira Yusufu, who explains what the philanthropic arm of the #1 brand in Nigeria, Dangote Group, is doing to add value to lives across the continent.
So the foundation works on 4 main pillars. The first one is health, the second one is education, the third one is economic empowerment, and then humanitarian/disaster relief runs through all those 3 pillars. The health pillar is really where I would say the foundation started. That's where we spend most of our money. The idea is how can we have a prosperous nation if people aren't healthy? It's not possible. Our primary healthcare system is broken. The malnutrition numbers in Nigeria are horrible, outrageous. We have too many children who are not immunized. This is why we had polio, which thank God we're about to be, we've been certified wild polio free. And that requires, though, that we continue to immunize children so that everybody gets their vaccines. And so some of these diseases that we're still struggling with, like measles, and these things can be eliminated forever. So everything related to health, you're not going to be a prosperous nation with the unhealthy population. That's pillar number 1. Pillar number 2 is is education. Why education? Because an educated population is necessary, right? It's also important that we look at the tertiary level, right? So if you look at a lot of our investments, they've been around universities. So we've built dorms to make life better at places like ABU. We've built a business school at BUK. We've built a business school at University of Ibadan. We've built amphitheaters at the Wudil Technology Institute. So the idea of training and educating Nigerians is very important. But then also, even in the health programming, there's an education component. When we talk about nutrition, teaching moms to do better in terms of nutrition for their kids, that's also an education component. So education doesn't mean that you have to go to a classroom and sit down and, take notes, but training, educating people is part of our mandate. And the third pillar is economic empowerment. Why? Because poverty, basically comes from, people not being able to, meet their basic needs. A lot of the problems that we have in health and education are related to economic power. So if we're able to change somebody's life by empowering them economically, we believe that they would be better off in terms of the health and the education of their children. So we run two programs in empowerment. One is a SME lending scheme. The other one is a micro grant where we identify 1,000 poor women in all the 774 LGAs in Nigeria and empower them with a cash grant. So those are the three, if you will, areas where the foundation is active. And even on the humanitarian side, I told you earlier that we do humanitarian and disaster relief. Even in those areas, our interventions are around health, education, and empowerment.
These are very critical intervention areas you've mentioned. How much does the foundation invest in programs?
Alhaji made a commitment, an endowment to the foundation of $1.25 billion back in 2014. That's when I told you the foundation had been reorganized. So this $1.25 billion is what we have as a foundation that we invest and that we use to run the programs. Now, that's a lot of money if you look at it, even in dollar terms, it's a lot of money. In Naira terms, it's even more. Our average spend per year fluctuates, so depending on what is happening. This year, if I look at, by the time we total up with all the COVID expenditures and everything, we'll probably be closer to maybe 20 billion Naira spend in this year. But we average somewhere between, I would say, 10 and 15 billion a year is what we spend.
In addition to these areas you've mentioned, there are so many intervention areas, so many social issues in Nigeria, and it's mostly seen in other African countries. So any organization that seeks to have an impact on the continent and beyond has to be really big, has to have the capacity to do so. So the question is, how big is the Aliko Dangote Foundation?
So the foundation is big in the sense that we have a big part of money that we were given to manage. So in that sense, we're big. In terms of size, like staff size, I don't believe that you have to be many people to be able to do big things. So we have a rather modest sized team, about 30 team members, spread out between our Lagos office, Abuja office, Kano office, and we have a small office in Maiduguri. In terms of our Africa-wide interventions, right now we're doing more of the humanitarian/disaster relief across the continent. So, the group has operations in 18 countries. Eventually, our goal is to have a foundation office across the continent that mirrors where our investments are, as long as there is need, right? So we're a need-based organization. But in terms of our interventions across the continent, we've done, so we've supported Niger Republic, Cote d'Ivoire, Kenya, Tanzania. We've supported operations in Liberia, Sierra Leone. So we've done things in different countries. We're in Congo, Brazzaville. So there are countries where we've made investments when there was either a catastrophe, a meningitis outbreak, a need. And right now we're looking at how can we support the African Union and the African CDC to see how we can take the lessons that we learned from fighting COVID here in Nigeria to see how we can use those across the continent. But our interventions right now across the continent are, specifically targeted at humanitarian/disaster issues because we don't yet have the capacity to be operating programs across a gigantic geography. Also, remember we have 200 million people here, and you have to start solving your own issues before you start trying to spread out in other places. And we still have a lot of work to do in Nigeria. So 70% of our spending is in Nigeria, 20% in the rest of Africa, and 10% globally.
I know that the foundation is big on impacting lives. Tell me what you would describe as the most impactful project, one that has impacted lives over the years.
So my personal favorite program that we run is our micro grant program. This is a program where we give a cash grant to a needy woman who's been identified by her ward, her LG, and her state as being a vulnerable woman. So there's a lot of widows, poor people, just people who are defined as poor by our own standards. And so those women are identified, and we go and we give them a cash grant. The grant is a gift, so they don't have to pay it back. It's not a loan, it's not a microfinance, it's a gift. But the gift is given to them with the only advice that we give them, what we really tell them is, look, this is an opportunity for you to grow whatever income generating activity you were doing. I'm not going to call it a business. Your little, the little activity that you're doing every day to feed your family, to take care of yourself. Here's money that you should use to expand that business. So we do, we have a proper M&E program for this. So we have the company that does the M&E for us. They go and they do a baseline assessment to see, how are these people living before, what was in the house, how much money did the woman have, how did she manage her life, and then after the grant, what has she done 3 months into it, 6 months into it, a year later, what is she doing? And the success rate is over 90% of the women doing something positive with that money. And we have amazing examples and stories of women who, took that money, invested it, expanded their capacity, able to send their kids to school, able to build a better house. I mean, it's amazing how a small amount of money can make a huge difference in the life of somebody who all they needed was a push, a support, somebody to just show them that they mattered and that they cared. And so that's my favorite program that we run is that one. And it's very direct. Like, you can just see these human beings, because we know them, like, we have their picture, we were there, we met them, we saw them. And then when you go back and you see how much better their lives have become because of this gift, it's amazing. That's my favorite program.
And what's your favorite part about being the CEO of the Aliko Dangote Foundation?
My team and I have the privilege of working for somebody we respect, somebody who's unbelievably generous, a very strong businessman, obviously successful, but someone who just has a heart for others. And so that combination is really good, right? We get to do what a lot of people don't get to do, like, just, it's joyful. I mean, I have some of my colleagues that are like, yeah, that I have the easy job of only giving money away, but it's not true, because we still have to do, it's deciding, it's managing, it's, it's all the same things as, running a organization that makes money, just that we have the privilege of giving money away. So I really, I feel very privileged to have this as my job.
You found it so hard to call it a job. I understand.
Because it doesn't feel like a job very often. Sometimes it does. This COVID period has been, I knew I had a job when, COVID came about. But yes, it definitely feels like a privilege and like we're lucky to be able to do what we do. And then we get to meet all kinds of interesting people. And Energy has an amazing network of people who support him, who encourage him, who, on this philanthropy journey, it's good.
So what's next for the Aliko Dangote Foundation?
Well, there's still a lot to do. We feel like we've done a lot, but there's a lot to do. We are building a university, we're building a hospital. There's just so much still to do in terms of, we were just about to start a scholarship program with the school that we've adopted in Maiduguri when this pandemic hit. So we've had to, delay that a little bit. We will continue micro grants. We've done about 55% of Nigeria. We're doing 8 states in the next, in the upcoming months. We are continuing to roll out our nutrition program, the ADFIN program. We still have too many children who are malnourished. We still have too many children who are out of school. We still have too many kids who are not immunized in our country. So there's going to be work for us to do for a while. You know, if everything was how we wanted it to be, we would say we should be out of business because all the problems will be solved, you know, shortly. But I think we're going to be around for the long haul because some of these issues will take a long time to be resolved.
Welcome back. Nigeria, with a population of about 200 million people, is Africa's most attractive market. To remain competitive in the Nigerian market and retain its market share, Techno Mobile is pursuing an aggressive expansion strategy to keep its top position in the smartphone industry.
Computer Village is the largest information and communications technology accessories market in West Africa. Located in Ikeja, Lagos, southwest Nigeria, it's a concentration of competing brands. On every corner of the market is the dominant presence of Techno Mobile, a Chinese brand. It's part of an aggressive expansion strategy over the last couple of years to compete effectively and increase its market share. Techno came into Nigeria in 2006 when China-made phones were considered substandard. That will be the biggest challenge the company would face to tap into West Africa's most attractive market. Following years of market research and tailoring products to suit the Nigerian environment, taking into consideration the large population and low purchasing power, Techno Mobile brand transformed into what it is today, one of the fastest selling mobile phones in Nigeria and top 3 in Africa. Techno Mobile has a comprehensive portfolio across feature phones, smartphones and tablets. The brand's dominance in the industry is strengthened by a flagship store, exclusive stores and dealership stores all over Nigeria. Techno Mobile's plan is to continue making products that suits the need of all consumers.
I caught up with the Deputy Marketing Manager of Techno Mobile Nigeria, Atai Uguche, who is part of the team that transformed the Techno brand to what it is today. I asked him how the company survived the stiff competition it faced when it came into the Nigerian market. Here's what he had to say.
It wasn't easy coming in 2006, a lot of things are against us. One, we're small. Two, we don't have the name, the brand wasn't strong then. And then 3, even the device itself, people were having some challenges in terms of the sound, it's too loud. Oh no, the phone looks too heavy. Why are you giving me extra battery? Does that mean the battery is not okay? So those are the things that we have to face coming to the market, 2006. And then we now brought in a lot of researchers. And then we now established a lot of R&D department globally across the world, some in Europe, in America, and then China itself. And then we even have some other engineers right here in Nigeria talking to people, what do you want? What kind of device do you want? So if you look at Technophone basically, and then part of the success is because it's being tailored to our own need. And you know, like in Techno, we believe in the philosophy of localization. We act global, but we think locally. What do you want? What do they want? Oh, we don't have power. If you go out in the morning, there's possibility you can't charge your phone till you get back home in the evening and then the battery get drained, which was one of the reasons why we're using 2 batteries then. But with time and research, now you don't even need to take your battery out of the case, out of the phone itself, because it's enough to power your phone for the whole entire day. Now, we want to look good, Africans. Yeah, even if we don't have money, we're not economically that big, want to look good in picture. That's what gives us joy and everything. So our cameras became better. And our cameras became better because of those R&D and the research that we have done. So then, in terms of the technology, again, the operating system, we have been able to make our phone to boot faster. In the past, you load in so many pictures, so many apps, you see your phone going off. That doesn't happen anymore because we now have enough space on the phone. The phone operates seamlessly and fast because of those researches that we have done. So with that being tailor-made to everyone is what took us from where we are in the past to now.
With the amount of success that Techno Mobile has experienced in the Nigerian market, what is the market share of the brand?
I want to be a little bit more modest. We're currently sitting at last year, 2019, we're at 28% market share. But if you combine, we have other sister brands, which is Transion is the parent company, Transion Holdings. With other sister brand, it should be 57% market share in the whole of Nigeria.
Time was when access to the internet seemed like an exclusive preserve of the rich. But today, with smartphones, a lot of smartphones around, the internet is for virtually everybody. I know that's one thing that Techno Mobile could lay claims to as one of its impacts in Nigeria. But I'm more interested in the impact the company has made in terms of job creation.
A lot. In terms of, let me just put it, we democratize smartphones in Nigeria. It used to be something of the elites, and then even those that are working, you need to save for 2-3 months to then afford a smartphone then. But we came in with the technology everybody could afford. You see a lot of people now on Instagram, a lot of people are selling from homes, a lot of people are just right from the sitting room selling stuff and they are making it. So that's because the power of smartphone, we democratize it by putting in everybody's palm and they could use it. Go to our stores. We have thousands of young people. It will interest you to know that in all those techno outlets that you see, if you see people branded with techno shirt, t-shirt in our shops, those people's welfare is taken care of by Techno Mobile. We pay all of them, and they're in their thousands. So that's a lot. And then I want to go into, there's something that's coming up very soon, which we have already employed over 1,000 people as well. So we're creating jobs in the labor market and we are helping people a lot.
Speaking of impact, what is Techno Mobile doing to impact Nigeria through CSR?
So we have done quite a lot in CSR. Our business is selling mobile phones and then making mobile phones affordable for everyone. And we took some young people, very, very talented. Last year we took them to Paris, took some of them to Italy, and then some of them even to Dubai. And it's because we want to give them that belief that, look, we know you're talented. You cannot even maybe afford a DSLR camera for now, but you don't need that. You only need your smartphone. And these are our end users. So we went all out to empower them. We took these guys and then we took them to the best institution, putting up there with mentors, global acclaimed photographers, so that we could mentor those guys. And I can tell you that most of them are established at the moment. In 2016, we launched a program called Light Up Your Dream. Light Up Your Dream is an initiative to support young entrepreneurs who have good business ideas, but finance is the problem. And we have supported over 15 of them by giving them 1 million naira each. So these are things that we're doing and then we're impacting on lives. We did that as well, we call Touching Lives, which is for public primary schools. And we give them scholarship. At the same time, we're helping out in terms of health in those schools, as well, not just giving them scholarship. In terms of health and then sanitation in the school, we're helping out as well. Then, in recent time for the COVID, we supported the Nigerian health sector as well by providing health equipment, protection equipment to frontline workers, which is the health workers, which we gave them just a month ago to support the initiative of the government, what the government is doing. And the university, we're doing a lot as well in terms of education, giving students scholarship, even going to schools to give them seminar, going down to even where we operate the biggest computer phone market, which is Computer Village, trying to make it safe as well for our customers. And we provided them street lights. So if you go to Computer Village 7 o'clock, 8 p.m., it's well lit up.
So where is Techno Mobile in the smartphone industry at the moment?
Most times I like to shy away from this question. There's no way I will speak about where we are at the moment without sounding a bit boastful. I don't want to use that word, but I don't know a better way to put it that this is where we are at the moment in terms of smartphone. I would just say we are a smartphone to beat, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa, where we are at the moment. So we are the upper chain. We are number one in Nigeria at the moment, and in Africa as well. And where we're going to be in the next 5 years, we'll still be here.
And that's our program. Thank you for watching. You can connect with us on social media through the addresses showing on your screen. I'm Uche Aluku, and as always, I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.